I'm Mike Arndt, and this is my presentation about computer history in consumerism. Today, almost everyone has a computer within reach of them at all times, whether it be a PC, a laptop, or in their phone. Today, computers pop up even in places where they're not expected, like in cars, for example. Computers pop up in various places, whether they be expected or not. For example, one would expect a computer to be involved in a television or a computer monitor, but one would not expect it to be in a car or a dishwasher. Computers are also vital for things such as resource management. For example, things like water management or power management require very precise measurement. Things such as these could not be performed by humans, and thus computers have become a very important part in the distribution of these necessary resources. A computer didn't always refer to a machine. A computer used to be a job title for people who worked in mathematics, especially people who worked with the abacus. These computers did things that we would associate with modern computers. However, they had the minds of a human rather than a machine. The father of modern computers is known as Charles Babbage. Babbage theorized about and then created a machine known as the analytical engine. While the final build of this machine was not completed until the 1940s, long after the death of Babbage himself, it was a pioneer for many computers that would be built in the coming centuries. Probably the most famous person to follow in Babbage's footsteps was Alan Turing. While Turing is most known for his work on cracking the Enigma machine during World War II, he's also known for things such as making the first chess program in a computer. Turing perfected the design of Babbage and made the machine simpler and easier to use while also being more powerful of a system. Computers in the following decades would look like the one in the picture here. They were generally very large, often taking up the space of an entire room, as well as just being underpowered compared to today's computers. Buying a computer as powerful as this one would cost less than a few dollars for someone to do in modern times. Around the 1980s, home computers started to be used more widely. Before this, they were mostly used by universities as well as the government. While it wasn't the first personal computer, the Apple II was the first personal computer with widespread adoption amongst the masses. This computer was the computer that started the trend of people buying computers for their own personal use. Before personal computers were widespread amongst regular people, computers were seen as very complex machines that only professionals really used. This all changed with DOS or DOS operating systems. DOS changed the machines from being very complex to being easily rememberable if someone was willing to remember a few lines of code. Around this time, the internet was only in its infancy, and the only people who had access to it were the people who were developing it. Around this time, intranets were becoming popular amongst businesses and government agencies. They allowed for businesses and the like to have all of their resources in one place rather than on multiple machines. The thing that really kickstarted the consumer craze of computers was when government agencies started to adopt personal computers for their work. This exposed personal computers to hundreds of thousands of people. These government workers, now knowing about the power of personal computers, would begin to adopt them for their own personal lives. Slightly after this computer craze began, the internet became available for the masses. This technology changed the way that humans do almost everything. It changed the way that we gather information, do business, and other very important things like that. The internet would send sales for personal computers skyrocketing in the 90s and in the early 2000s. Along with the creation of the internet, the adoption of simpler operating systems became very widespread. This made using a personal computer much easier on the people who were purchasing them, and thus grew the sales of personal computers as well. The most important amongst these operating systems was Windows 95, amongst others. Around this time, computers were also becoming powerful enough so that they could rival the intelligence of humans. In the year 1997, the supercomputer Deep Blue defeated the world chess champion Garry Kasparov at a 6-game match. This was the first time that a computer had defeated the chess champion. This had tremendous implications for computers, as did smaller and smaller technology, which allowed for flip phones to become more popular and more common. While the cell phones of this era were not the first of their kind, the integration of more powerful computers had lasting effects. Cell phones could do more than just make calls. They could also text as well as sometimes even access the internet. This integration of more powerful and smaller computers allowed for devices such as the iPod to rise in popularity. The iPod was a multimedia device which could fit in a pocket and could play things such as music and movies. This important invention showed that soon computers would be in the pockets of nearly every person in the United States. This became even more apparent with the invention of devices such as iPhones and other smartphones. It was around the beginning of the 2010s when people were always within reach of a computer of some sort. This invention would lead to other devices such as smartwatches and other things that would have us constantly surrounded by computers. Today, the internet has become a very powerful uniter of people all across the globe. Almost any bit of information can be found on a device which is held by almost every person in their pocket, purse, or other bag. Computers have become a very important commodity, not only for work and school reasons, but also for personal reasons. One of the most popular of these personal reasons would be for entertainment devices. Many people use computers every day to do things that were not thought of a couple decades ago. Computers have taken the places of games as well as televisions. This makes the computer by far one of the most important inventions that humans have ever created. That's the end of my presentation, so thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought, and let me know if you have any questions that I can answer. Thank you again.